Welcome back, my faithful Legionnaires, to another episode of GTA 5 mod review slash showcases. First of all, I'd like to say thank you for all your overwhelming support. Like I said in the last episode, we were up to 157 at the time of this one. Hasn't changed too much, so... But if you're new here, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and welcome to the Legion. Now, today's episode, we're more or less jumping straight into it, because I didn't really feel like respawning this bastard back in. And I will also give you pre-warning, there might be some lag throughout the episode, just because, like I said in the last one, still haven't upgraded most of my gear yet, but nevertheless, we will push on and try our best. Now, I'm rocking the ODST armor today of the Rookie, because why not? It is a very cool armor set, and behind us is the Nissan Titan. Still waiting for Nissan, come on. Give us one of the Titans, or a Navara, please. Just putting it out there. And then behind that we have today's episode, which is none other than the Milano from Guardians of the Galaxy. So what we'll do is just enter our flight god mode, as it were, and have a good look at it. Now this has some pretty cool articulation parts, especially when when you take off vertically, just these rotate right here to give it a sense of depth and whatnot, motion, which is pretty cool. And then when you enter the mode of taking the landing gear up, the wings open up and all that kind of stuff, which we will demonstrate shortly. Now, I will say this model does need a bit of texturing and whatnot, a bit more nitty gritty to make it look a bit more realistic, even though, you know, it's not actually a real vessel, but at the same time, to many people, at heart, it is. Now, the functionality, it's got your, like I said, it flies pretty well. Weapons, just your standard machine gun and rocket launchers coming out, and as for that, that's about it for weaponry. Aesthetic, it's a bit iffish on the inside, as you can tell, not too much. Afterburner, not really functional, but these light up somewhat to a nice bluey, greeny, kind of metallic looking colour, which is pretty cool. The only gripe, like I said, is it's not to scale. Personally, I think it could be a little bigger, and also the texturing on it could use some work. Not too much else than that. It's a very nice ship, like I said. Without further ado, let's hop inside and demonstrate the taking offness of the ship. So, go here, it's starting up. So, like I said, we'll take off and go. And like I said, the little flaps at the back there, that's a landing gear up, and then when we change motion to like a forward motion, she will raise those upper flaps. So let's get some altitude before we do that. There we go. Oh, that's right. Oh, the afterburner seems to be working for us now. It wasn't working when I flew the ship in. So she does have some pretty good maneuverability. She can be improved with speed through the mod menu. Another little gripe is that the wings don't really modular when you're flying through the air. They kind of just stay as stiff. But you can, if you want the look, you can just do that when you're flying through, just to give it that little bit of a pizzazz, as it were. But she is a very nice ship. I would love to do the next ship that was in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I forget the name of that one. Please forgive me, or leave it in the comments below so we know what it is, and hopefully someone will make that mod. As for this one, it's, like I said, it needs some updating. And if any other modders have done any of those other ships that we requested, that would be awesome. But we will wait and see for that one. So what we'll do now, Legionnaires, is do the usual. What I'll do is shut up and enjoy the flying. let's head into the landing area because it's starting to become a bit laggy and we don't want too much lag in this episode. So let us attempt our legendary bad landings with some lag.
Hours later, a few minutes later, a little longer than a few minutes later. Then, by sheer coincidence, the next morning, montage. The next morning, many tic-tacs later, flashback, and a flashback. The very next evening. Moments later, more moments later, one semester later, graduation day. 15 minutes later, several months later, thousands of tears later, 16 paranoia-filled days later, 6 hours later, later that same evening, several days. Tomorrow for sure. Eventually, day 2, day 3, day 4, 3,000 whoop-whoos later. Soon after today, many hours later, 75 years later, 4 to 6 weeks later, 1 minute, 37 seconds later, 1 debt to society later, 1 pair of pants later, 12 o'clock midnight, 1 hour later, 2 hours later, 3 hours later.
Can you move it along? I'm all out of time cards.
Few moments later, 1 eternity later, 3 days later, 12 seconds later, 3:28 a.m., 8:01 p.m. The next day, meanwhile, at the Krusty Krab, 10 seconds later, 346 minutes later, much later, 3 days later, opening night, extremely annoying shift later, 2 very boring minutes later, lot of boring math later, 24 hours later, 1 week later, 1 long angry line later, 72 hours later. The following Thursday, 5 minutes later, 24 hours later, much later.
And there we have it, Legionnaires, back on the ground, safe and sound after that very glitchy landing. I do apologise for that. So hopefully next time we can get slightly better landing. We've had worse landings, I will say. At least we didn't crash and burn, we just kind of crashed into the ground and whatnot. So if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it really does help us out. I will leave the link to the ship in the description below, so that way you guys can find it easily, and hopefully she gets an update one day in the future, and then we will revisit it on the channel. Other than that, Legionnaires, I hope to see you in the next one.